It's August 24th, 2023. So would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Dowd.
Present.
Alderwoman Wilshire. Alderwoman Klee.
Here.
Alderwoman Timmons.
Here.
Alderman Sullivan.
Here.
Ms. Raymond.
I'm here.
Ms. Lampier. Ms. Bishop.
Here.
Ms. Giglio. Mr. Claffey. We have 6 in attendance. We have a quorum.
Thank you for
Okay,
taking my role tonight, Sean. My head is pounding, so I appreciate it.
Ms. Giglio called me and said she wasn't going to be able to attend. She wasn't feeling well today. And I think that Alderman Wilshire is also not attending this evening. She had another commitment.
Yeah, she injured her back at work
Okay.
this week.
All right. If the clerk would read the prayer, and if Alderman Sullivan will lead us in the pledge.
Mighty God, we have the high honor and serious duty to manage the educational affairs of our beloved city. Fill us, O God, with a spirit of unity and understanding, which enables us to face our multiple problems with a serene mind, justice, and charity for all. So any and all decisions made by us will always be for the betterment and greater happiness of all our fellow citizens. So help us, God. Amen.
Okay, if there's no objections, we'll waive the reading of the minutes of the July 27th, 2023 meeting and place them on file. Sean, Lampier just showed up?
Got it.
Got it. Marked by chairman. Thank you, everybody, for coming out this evening. Last summer meeting. But these school projects are all going exceptionally well, thanks to Harriman. Moving along, and Franklin Street, we'll see. Extremely close. But it will be open time. Rest of the schools. All right. Administration.
Yeah, I think you stole most of my thunder. I think we'll see tonight the remarkable progress that has been made over the last couple months. So again, I want to thank our construction partners and their wonderful work and their open communication and just getting our schools ready for Tuesday. So again, thank you and appreciate all the good work and the ongoing relationship and good communication. Thank you.
Okay, so the first thing we'll discuss this evening is the architect's report. Jamie from Harriman.
Good evening, everyone. Jamie Willett from Harriman. So today I have a summary of kind of things that are ongoing. I think as we've kind of noted over the past several meetings, the design efforts have kind of slowed. So a lot of the thunder, I guess, is over on the contractor side. So I'm sure they'll share a lot of stuff today, but I will go through a quick little summary here. So I'll start at Franklin Street. I know that we were over there, Harriman was over there today doing punch listing of the third floor at the school, and things are looking pretty good. I do also want to recognize that they did receive the temp C of O for the third floor. So that space is able to be utilized for school. So that's great. That's quite a task because that was a lot of work to be done in the summer. I do know that the kitchen, I believe, still is not ready yet. They're waiting to balance out some mechanicals over there before that gets approved, but I think it's pretty close. And I'll let EEI and Harvey kind of touch on those elements too when they get to their thing. And the elevator was operational. I know there was a lot of work over there to get that elevator revamped from the original condition. So that's good. Over at Maine, Dunstable, and Birch Hill, again, those schools are pretty darn close. I know that the temporary classrooms and the portables are ready for use. I think there's marker boards going in tomorrow. And I know that Harvey will probably touch on those items as well as EEI. But spaces look good. We were just over there as well recently, and pretty excited about that. Actually, we're over there today. Sorry. Yeah, so we're continuing with collaboration with ongoing with the contractors and coordinating any elements of the construction that with as it relates to design and the construction document set. So things are moving well over there. Pennachuck, I don't, I know that one's kind of closing up, but I did want to mention that Harriman was over there just today doing a marketing photo shoot for the building itself. And the administration and teachers over there were extremely gracious to let us come in and do some photos of some of the key spaces. We're in the Learning Commons, like the central maker space in there, a couple of the team collaboration spaces. And we didn't have students in there, so I had to bring my own children with me today, and so they're pretty wiped out today. But it was they had a good time. They were impressed with the school. I know that they're maybe a little bit jealous even, but yeah, it was a good time. So we appreciate you all letting us get in there and do that. So we hope to be able to share some of those photos from the professional side once we get that wrapped up. And then finally, over at McCarthy. We are continuing to review on-site progress, coordinating design elements with the contractor, and it's going quite nicely. It's exciting. There's some big trees being planted out in the fields, or over by the fields. I know that inside the building, the C tower is that if you couldn't start school today, I'd be shocked, but still a little ways to go, but I know they're making a lot of progress. Area A is really starting to, the main portion of the building really starting to close in, and some of the systems are all starting to get put in. So that's working well. And for design elements at McCarthy, we are working on the furniture package still, like I've spoken about at the last meeting. It's getting very near the end. I think mid next month is our set date to issue documents for pricing. Right now, we're working on finalizing the package and then actually coordinating with the vendors on estimated pricing, so that when we send it out, we kind of know where it's going to land. But that it will be bid so that vendors have, it's a competitive bidding scenario. So this is just kind of a ballpark number to make sure we're in that range where we expect to. I know that the ones that we've done already at kind of that partial way through has come out very, very positive, or at least good standing for where the budget stands. So I think that's kind of it over there, or at least for what I have to report.
Any questions for Harriman? Okay, we'll get into the construction manager's report. Harvey? Ken?
Thank you, everybody. Good evening. Ken Lemarier, Harvey Construction, project manager. So I'll start, Jamie kind of touched on some items here, but we'll start at, I guess, oldest to newest projects. So get some updates at Fairgrounds and Pennachuck. I'll jump over to McCarthy, and then we'll do Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable, and then we'll give a quick update on where we stand over at Franklin Street. So starting over at Fairgrounds and Pennachuck Middle School, so we were asked to cover some track replacement and resurfacing, restriping under the McCarthy budget. So at Fairgrounds Middle School, that track was only needed to be resurfaced. So that resurfacing is complete. Just trying to line up the track company to finish up the striping. I think we're slated like end of next week. It's about a 1 or 2 day process to get that done. So weather pending, we'll be finishing up the track restriping over at Fairgrounds Middle School, and that is the last remaining item over at that campus. Over at Pennachuck Middle School, we're kind of used this summer to go through and give it a once over to get it nice and refreshed for the school year. So that track needed a little more TLC, so we actually did have to regrade and repave that track to kind of help with the pitching and everything. So that track is already completed. You can see the photo in the upper right-hand corner of that track area. We also we had the landscaper come back through and kind of help regrade, and with the added asphalt, there was kind of a tripping hazard around the track, so we kind of leveled that out and pitched that out. And then we also did have them kind of start from furthest away from the school and work their way towards Manchester Street to kind of refresh everything and give it a good look for next week when staff and students return. We did complete all of the architectural and regular pipe safety bollards. That was completed late last week. We did have our painter go through and touch up all of the existing wood trim. That's kind of something that Mr. Smith and I were kind of tracking to see if we had enough funds to take care of it. And luckily, we were able to have some savings in the project and get that refreshed as well. We also had our mason go through and kind of wash down the existing building. A lot of the old drip edge kind of gave the bottom level of the masonry a kind of a rough look. So we wanted to make it match the new portions that were completed this year and last year. So we were able to get through and clean that up. And then we're working through the last couple of items for the mechanical commissioning. I believe we're going to be kind of sitting down with Mr. Smith's team and the commissioning agent tomorrow to kind of work through those couple of items. So getting pretty close there over at Pennachuck, and I'm pretty happy with how things look over there.
Just a couple other things. The Lawrence is coming back and doing the bark mulch around the school and all the beds, and feed around the new loom around the track. Good. There you go. And any of the plants that didn't make it were, you believe, replaced or
Correct. And they'll be mulching, I believe, Saturday. So. Any questions on Pennachuck or Fairgrounds?
Yes, Ms.
Thank you. I just wanted to
Raymond?
say, I spoke to the track coach today, and he was talking about how thrilled they are with the track. And I also was talking to the assistant principal who's been taking walks on the track and, kind of walking meetings, talking about just how lovely it is, how springy, and how much everyone's looking forward to this track season, and not having the kind of injuries that we've seen in the past. So I'm just thrilled. I think it's gorgeous as well.
Certainly a big difference.
All three tracks have the rubberized surface on them, and on all three tracks, the cone is now graded so that they have a pitch.
Fantastic. I'm so happy.
Oh, one other thing, the traffic light is working again. Neil would be here, so I get.
Jumping over to the McCarthy Middle School. So as usual, we'll start at the outside of the building, work our way in. So site development is ongoing. If you've been through the area near Medallion and Cherrywood, you'd notice that the new cul-de-sac has been completed and paved. So you can see a photo in the lower right-hand corner. Okay, nobody move. Lower right-hand corner, you can see those cobblestones being installed. So that's since been completed, and the stone dust has been installed at the joint. So kind of similar to the Titan Way cul-de-sac. That's at the entrance of the fire lane. Athletic field fencing's ongoing. They were working on wrapping up the backstops today. Track surfacing is scheduled for after Labor Day. Same company that did the fairgrounds track, and the plantings at the fire lane and athletic fields ongoing. So a lot of the plantings at the athletic fields started yesterday, so they're going to be completing those over the next couple of weeks. And then we're going to be reviewing internally the plantings that are going along Medallion Court and along the fire lane, just to make sure that kind of matches the adjacent neighborhoods to kind of give a good blend into the campus. Concrete sidewalks ongoing, and then that kind of wraps it up for site work. Building envelope, which is kind of the exterior skin of the building. The air vapor barrier is ongoing in area A. It's pretty close to being complete, probably a couple more weeks. And then various levels, window and curtain wall, brick veneer, and the tactile panels are ongoing, kind of working their way around the building. The masonry should be complete in November, and the tactile panels, which are the concrete panels, those are working their way around. So I believe they're on working their way around building B right now. So working their way around the building. And here's an example of the sunshades that'll be on all of the exterior windows throughout the building. Moving to the interior, so you can see a photo of the custom graphic shutters going into the kitchen. So there are 3 graphics on each of them. There are 3 shutters, so there's a different graphic on each of them. This is an example of one of them. So building C, Jamie mentioned earlier, it's pretty close to being complete. We'll be starting our punch list in the fall with first Harvey does kind of our own walkthrough. We generate a list of items that we think need to be addressed, and then we give that list to Jamie's team, and then they walk through and give us a list of items that we need to address as well. So we're going to start that process and then work our way through all of the buildings as we progress throughout construction. So building C and B and D are kind of in various levels of finishes, with building C being the furthest along. All of the air handling units are in the building, and we're working on the final connections and getting those started up. Area A, which is the main entrance and all of the unified arts, cafeteria, gymnasium, that's the last building that'll be turned over, as you know from the previous meetings. So that's a little further behind. So, but it is on schedule. So we're MEP rough-in, various levels of framing, starting to get towards the finishes, and we'll be starting up boiler for temporary heat in the fall. So things are progressing nicely over at McCarthy. Questions on McCarthy?
McCarthy? Yes, John?
If you could back up one slide, you had the sunshades. I was just curious. Aesthetic, or do they serve a purpose other than providing shade, obviously?
I'll respond to that. So, not necessarily aesthetic, actually a purpose. They are both on the south and west sides of the building only, and so they help with the south and westerly sun coming into those classrooms, helping to shade those windows to help reduce energy consumptions needed to cool the building. Aesthetically, they are a nice design that helps please that side as well, but more function over aesthetics there.
So if you go down there now, you won't see that on the side of the building. We decided not to put them on in case something fell off the roof or a brick or something. We don't want the sunshades damaged, so
For photo op only.
photo op only.
Okay, jumping over to Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable. So again, both schools are kind of similar scope. So the big focus over the last 2 weeks was making sure that the portable classrooms and at the exterior and the temporary classrooms in the gymnasiums were ready for school. So starting at the exterior portable classrooms, these were the units that were taken from Elm Street. So final cleaning and furniture is ongoing, working with the custodial staffs at each school, getting the floors waxed. I know at Birch Hill, the furniture's already moved in. Marker boards were installed today, and coat hooks will be installed tomorrow. At each of the sites, we walked with the principals and the custodial staff to get a layout and count for where they want hooks at what heights, just to make sure that everybody's kind of getting tailor-made what they need for each of the classrooms. For all the temp classrooms, we did have the fire marshal and building department walkthroughs, so we do have approval for both of those spaces. EEI will be doing the balancing of both of the gymnasiums tomorrow, and then once we have the balance report in hand, building department will give us the final okay for occupancy. So that's kind of the last thing that we're waiting for, but we don't foresee any issues with that.
So we had a meeting today at Maine Dunstable on the 2 schools. The progress is great, and the one key measure to make sure that everything is great is the principals are happy. So, and they've been great. They've been really part of the construction project and solution. And
So all the portable classrooms at the exterior, they have all the ramps are ADA designed by Harriman. We do have metal handrails that are installed at Birch Hill right now, and then the main Dunstable handrails will be installed over the next week or two. In the meantime, we do have wooden handrails just at main Dunstable. All the grading around there has been loamed and seeded and hydroseeded, so it should hopefully get some favorable weather and everything will start looking nice over there. Moving into the gymnasium temp classrooms, you can see in the bottom two photos. That's kind of what you see before all the furniture and desks have been moved in. So I know at Birch Hill and Main Dunstable, they've started to move in. We had our cleaning crews there today and all day tomorrow to kind of make sure the custodial staffs are getting what they need from us. We just don't want to hinder. They've already got a full plate getting ready for next week. So we just want to make sure that anything that we've done over the last couple of weeks doesn't add to their already tall order. So again, we have all the final inspections and fire department's been through sites, and then over at Elm Street,
no,
we're going to be. I think they finished today, but maybe wrapping up tomorrow. They regraded everything, and I think they're going to be hydroseeding next week.
one additional thing, I keep mentioning it, but just for the public, Main Dunstable is normally a voting site. And obviously, there is no auditorium for the voting, so the voting for the next few elections for Ward 5 is going to be at the Nashua High School South. Oh yeah, in Ward.
So other than the big push for the portable classroom and temp classroom areas, there was some work going on inside the school for the summer. So phase one was the cafeteria, toilets, and teachers lounge area on the first floor. So already this photo is already outdated. So the in-wall and above ceiling inspections are all complete. All the drywall and masonry has been completed. The photo up here at Birch Hill, the flooring's already installed and all of the construction equipment you see in the photo is already gone. So the big thing that we were waiting for, we have some new storefront entrances. There's 3 in the caf and then there's 1 in the teachers lounge. Those are kind of a long lead item that we've been tracking. Those are going to be arriving on Monday at Birch Hill and then Tuesday at Main Dunstable. And then after those are installed, we have a little bit more finish work to complete, and we are going to be opening those cafeterias and the lounge for the week of 9/11. Ongoing, you can see we have phase 2. So at Birch Hill, it's the 4th grade and kindergarten, and at Main Dunstable, it's third grade and kindergarten. So on the inside of this wall, this is kind of an example of the temp partitions that temp partitions that we set up. So on the other side of this wall, we have insulation and studs. So we'll be working on that side, and the kids will be on the school side. So that's kind of gives you an idea of what's going to be going on throughout construction. We were able to get a lot of the demo and loud work done this summer. It includes any saw cutting, any loud demolition. So we shouldn't be hindering any of the learning during school day. And if we notified all of the principals today, if they do get any noise complaints, just let us know and we'll shut things down during the day.
The other thing with the temporary walls and everything, there's going to be markings on there so nobody gets confused or lost.
With all the temp walls, we did walk through with the fire marshal a few times, and they were there again today just to make sure that what we've previously reviewed with them is what actually got installed. So we also placed periodically throughout the building some egress plans to kind of help people gain their bearings with how things kind of changed with the configuration of these new walls. So kind of tells people the nearest exit and the safest way to egress out of the building in the event of an emergency. So everything's tracking well. Phase 2 will be turning over in February. So pretty much we'll be done probably early February, which will give the staff enough time to kind of get their stuff moved in, get things cleaned, and it should be a pretty smooth transition in these later phases here.
Yeah, I had to talk to the 2 elementary schools now, and
Matt Smith with EEI. Just like Ken said, our big focus, same areas. Everything, all the utilities are on in the modulars. We have temporary fans up on the rooftop for the temp classrooms in the gym because those units are coming a little late, but we still have to get the balancing done for that, make sure we're pushing enough fresh air in for the kids with those temporary fans. That's going to be done tomorrow. And then had a couple bathrooms, some plumbing, some rework of electrical through the cafeteria and teacher's lounge area that is getting buttoned up. And like Ken said, we've gotten all our inspections and starting to close everything up. So everything's tracking very well on our end. Moving along.
Any questions on Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable?
Yes, Ms. Raymond?
Thank you. I cannot believe how amazing the temporary classrooms look in the gym. When you guys said we're going to put some temporary classrooms in the gym and we're going to fit, I was like, oh, sure, that sounds great. And I was very skeptical. And with the carpeting and the walls and the doors, I think the teachers will be very comfortable. And I've spoken with both principals, and both principals are just thrilled with how they're coming along. My question is about the delay with the windows in the cafeterias for both schools. How will that impact the kids who ordinarily eat lunch in the cafeteria, and will it have any impact on hot lunch? Like the way that the
Right, so-
line is to pick up your food is like kind of right there.
So this is something that we had placed a contingency plan in place back in April because we knew that this summer was going to be a real push to get these storefronts, which was, if you remember back in May when we were buying out this project and when I was presenting so many packages in one night, that was the big push, and this was the item that we were concerned about. We're hoping we're going to be able to pull it in. So back in April and May, we were already working with Mr. Smith's team and the district to say we might have to eat lunch in the classrooms for that first full week. And then once, if we can pull it in, great. If not, at least we have a plan. So I believe that's the plan. And Mr. Smith's already conveyed that to kitchen staff as well. So
Is there any impact on the kids being able to access, like, because they go online, they get their hot lunch, and then during COVID they got their hot lunch and then they took it back to their seats in their classroom anyways. So is the lunch line and their ability to access where the cafeteria leaders are actually giving them their lunch impacted by this, or is that like separated somehow?
They can still get to the kitchen and the lunch line, I believe.
Okay, great.
Any other questions?
Okay, moving over to Franklin Street. So Jamie mentioned earlier that the elevator upgrades were completed, the third floor interior classroom. So we did receive the certificate of occupancy there. So all of the items pertaining to the third floor are complete, and with the certificate of occupancy comes the fire alarm inspection, building department inspections, et cetera. Work nearing completion, which I think some of these things have already been completed. The exterior fence and landscaping is ongoing. I believe, just spoke to Kathy before this meeting, the building department walked through today and the fire marshal also walked through this afternoon. And I believe there's only one other item that I think Matt can speak to about. He's got some window replacements that are ongoing as well, so I'll let you.
So as Ken started to say, they walked through, and the last lingering check mark that we got to get finished up is up on the third floor for the new windows. We weren't quite finished with the trim going in around the windows. So they are holding up that TCO, but we're going to be done by Saturday on those, and they're already scheduled to come out on Wednesday to reinspect. Not going to be an issue as far as getting the kids in there and getting everything opened up. So along with the windows, we finally got all the condensing units started up as of just this afternoon. So we are now pushing cool air around that building and got all the air handlers in sequence and we're working on the commissioning part of it where we go through and nitpick and make sure everything works fine. But everything's up and running and looks really good. Everything's controlling quite nicely.
And then Jamie also mentioned earlier the final thing that will be completed in September. A couple of tweaks in the kitchen. Should be turning that over in a couple of weeks here.
Elevator's been completely redone, and probably the biggest elevator in any of the schools by far. It's huge. And you can see the roof. The roof, if you saw the pictures before and after, it's amazing. That was a huge job, the roof. Oh, and the basketball court is completely fenced in, and they're going to be painting lines on it, and they have a portable hoop that they use, and fixing the sidewalk where those trucks are that got broken by some of the heavy equipment. Park is now grass and additional hedge going in. Friends again did the landscaping and trimmed all the bushes and park mulch in. And the other thing, the playground has the rubberized surface on it now. So, and the swing got moved. Good shape, it's getting there. And there's a new sign, they're redoing sign for the front of the school again. So it's coming along. It's a lot of work in a short period of time, and see pictures of the before and after in this building. Leave the change. Any questions on? Yes, Mrs. Raymond.
All right, of course I have questions. So the playground, instead of bark mulch, is now the rubberized surface to go along with the new law the governor just signed. Fantastic. And then my question is about school starting. So preschool starts after Labor Day. When does Brentwood start? Are they starting on Wednesday?
Isn't it?
It's starting on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Yep, same day as preschool.
Tuesday the 5th.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and the paving is going to be done the 28th, 29th, and 30th. I understand it now. I've had so many conversations with DPW and Dan Hudson. They are going to grind off all the existing tar, and that'll take less than a day. And they probably are going to do the base coat the same day. Hasn't got back to me exactly what his plans are, but then they have to do the markings on the streets as well. And I believe they're going to do, it's my understanding anyway, that they're going to be doing Locust Street from Winter Street to Franklin Street.
Oh, nice.
Got to get that done and get the markings on. And
A lot.
any questions on Franklin Street? Yes, Alderman Clee.
Thank you, Alderman Dowd. I keep hearing that this is going to be done, completed when school starts. Is that the reality? In other words, there will be no more construction vehicles, no more contractors coming in the outside of the property. And I'm not looking at anybody specifically. Is that cleaned up, going to be cleaned up? I have pictures from some of the residents have sent me pictures of broken glass, concrete bags being put between pipes, things that I'm not real happy with, and they're not happy with it either. So is all that going to be cleaned up as well?
I know that Harvey should be complete with all of their items at the exterior. I'm certain that we've had our laborers run through the site and clean things up, and I speak for Matt's team as well. I mean, once they complete the windows, we should do a once through and. Right.
Mike.
We will be done. Also, will be complete by the start of school, and we've had a labor on site the last couple of days. Also, getting the final cleanup done and getting everything so it's nice and spotless for everybody once school starts.
I appreciate it. I don't know. I did not drive by today, but I know not too long ago there was still a dumpster that was there. I think it was over by where I want to say where um, the basketball hoop area. I think over that way. I think it was. I think last weekend. I haven't driven by there since then. So yeah.
So over by the basketball court, it's no longer there where it was kind of half in the parking lot and half on the grass. It's been moved and picked up. I do know from our meeting on Wednesday, Harvey does have to bring it back, but it's going to park where the actual dumpster pad is, just for some final cleanup, and then it will be gone for good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And once it's gone, the city will bring back regular dumpsters. And I think Morin's did a lot of the cleanup since then, because I think a lot of that stuff's gone. They did all the landscaping, did a great job. There were a couple trees planted. The basketball court, like I said, it's all in right along. And
May I? Thank you. I'm just concerned about like areas, you can't see that from here, but areas like this that have broken glass all over it and so on. And I know from witnessing it, I saw things not necessarily going down the chute to the dumpster, but being thrown off the balcony at the top. And I think that's probably what's created this mess. So thank you.
roof is done. The roofers are gone.
This is glass,
And-
though. It's not
Yeah,
roofers.
and I'm sure that's all been cleaned up because Morin's went around the entire school to clean things up.
I'll happily check it.
Moving right along, so be good to go for school.
I know it was a postage stamp type of site, and there was a lot going on, and so we really appreciate the the people that are adjacent to the site putting up with us and bearing with the project this summer. I know there was a lot going on between what Harvey was doing and what EEI had to get done. So again, thank you.
And the contractors have been told no parking on Winter Street. They can, and especially with the paving come on. So there will be deliveries, but that will be ongoing. So deliveries will be done and then the vehicle be moved.
Yeah. Thank you. I was actually going to save this for the end comment. There are 4 residents that live there, 3 that are on Winter Street and 1 that's on the corner with an address of Locust Street. They have no backyards, so their children play in the front. And the problem that we had with all this construction zone that the kids didn't have to go. I saw 3 little toddlers walking across the street when they were eyeing that playground area, wanting to get into there because it would have been something for them to be able to play with. But of course, we can't allow that access and so on. And I understand that, but these families have been putting up with this a little bit more than the summer, but this summer has been hell on wheels for them. Between property damage happening and their lives being turned upside down since this project began with traffic pattern changes and construction vehicles being there and everywhere. I mean, I would love for us to be able to do something, which is why I kind of approached about the parking. I have not completely explained to them that the city doesn't have that after hours, and I will take the time to do that. But I was hoping for an alternative, but it doesn't look like that'll happen. The thing is just moving forward, and not necessarily for the school district, but I think for the city and everybody in general, whether it's a postage stamp type thing or it's in a residential area, even like, for instance, the McCarthy School, we have to really consider what's happening. This is a tiny area, and it had a really bad effect on all these people because it was so close. It honestly was as far as you are from their homes. That's pretty rough that they've had to go through that for so long. So thank you.
Yes, Mr. Raymond?
Thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Clee's comment made me think, our other schools, the playgrounds are accessible to the community when school is not in session. Will this playground be accessible to those neighbors when school is not open? Like typically you just, everybody in the community walks up and uses the swings and stuff all summer.
I think the difference is that this playground is designed for preschool kids. It's not the heavier equipment we use for like even elementary schools. So
Bicentennial and Birch Hill, and I can't think of all of the schools right now, but they each had preschool playgrounds in a fenced-in area at their schools. And I remember when my children were little, I mean, like 3, 4, taking them down to the Birch Hill playground or the Bicentennial playground because they were that size and like Roby Park wasn't. So, and there were fences, but their gates were never locked outside of school hours. I mean, I know we want to make sure that we preserve because we want these kids are vulnerable preschoolers, right? And we want to make sure we preserve the space for them. But at the same time, our buildings and our grounds are public grounds.
I'll speak to the principal and get back to you on that.
Thank you, everybody.
The concern would be that the little kids are in there, they're supervised by like 4 or 5 adults.
Yeah.
Places in there you could get hurt.
Right. I mean, I don't know what the right answer is. I'm just curious.
One other thing at Pennachuck, we had a couple of issues that needed resolved by the city's insurance. One was we had an 18-wheeler went in and wiped out a granite curbing and a couple stop signs because they couldn't turn around. We may be doing legislation that says no 18-wheelers are allowed in the Pennachuck lot, at least. And but that's being paid for by the city, and they go back to the project money. And also, we found that there was leaking in one of the walls of the gymnasium that had been there since the school started. It's being repaired by RV, so we get stop that leaking. But that's also being paid for by the city. City risk, we're self-insured, and that money will go back to the project. And as far as the McCarthy School and the drainage issue, we're having our, is it Hayner Swanson, Ken? Sean?
Yes, Hayner Swanson's
Is
supervising the site.
evaluating it from an environmental and water flow and all that issues or whatever. They do it every time it rains. They come to McCarthy and check all the places. And then the issue is being resolved with the homeowners by Matt Sullivan, who's the community development director. The city has a drainage easement that runs right between the two homes. Don't seem to realize that, but so anything that's off school property is being handled by city planning department.
Any other questions on the construction updates?
All right. Moving right along, let's invoices.
Actually, we have a couple of PCOs to go through
Oh,
first.
you're right. You're right. Sitting here underneath me.
Done yet. Couple of bookkeeping items here. So I will start over at Maine Dunstable. 2 prime contract change orders, one for Maine Dunstable and one for Birch Hill, both for the same added scope items. So last month, I presented a potential change order for Child Guard laminated security glazing at all of the ground level exterior windows, exterior door side lights. So it's basically kind of impact resistant and provides some higher level of security at the ground level areas of both schools. So again, the PCO has already been approved and added to the project. This is just kind of the formality that gets it into the overall project budget for each school. So I will present Maine Dunstable first. So if this PCCO number 1 is approved, it adds a total value to the project, $68,558.25.
Right number? You get the wrong.
You gave us the Birch Hill number.
Yeah, he gave us the wrong number. It's 69,719.48.
I got it mixed up. Yep, you're right. That's Maine Dunstable. $69,719.48.
Okay, again, this is the administrative part of the contractor, PCCO. The PCO's already been approved, so I'll need a motion to approve PCCO number 1 for the Maine Dunstable Elementary School for the what was just stated in the amount of $69,719.48 by Alderman Gottfried. Timmons.
Okay.
I do that all the time.
I don't care.
All right, any questions, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Now for Birch Hill, the same scope of work for PCCO number 1 for Birch Hill for a total contract value of $68,558.25.
All right, so I'll need a motion to approve PCCO number 1 for the Birch Hill Elementary School in the amount of $68,558.25. Moved by Alderman Timmons. Any discussion?
I have a question, please.
Question? Yes?
When we look at the budget for Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable, will these two, where do these two change orders, where do those fall? Because right now we have 33 million proposed budget, 33 million and change. Is that, let's call it 140,000 that we just approved, does that get added into that? When will that be reflected? Where is that reflected?
So that will be reflected as a change order at the bottom of the at this month's requisition. So part of the invoices. So that is added to the GMP for the project.
Okay.
But it doesn't require at this point in time any more money on the bond. It's
Right, I understand that. Yeah. Okay.
any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
All set.
Okay, invoices. We have 2 invoices from EEI for Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable totaling $1,291,161.24. We have 5 invoices from Harriman for work at the McCarthy Middle School, Pennachuck Middle School, Franklin Street, Birch Hill, and Maine Dunstable totaling $45,182.97. We have 5 invoices from Harvey for work at Pennachuck and McCarthy Middle Schools, Birch Hill, Maine D, and Franklin Street, totaling $4,392,101.94. 1 invoice from Hayner Swanson for work at the McCarthy Middle School, $1,578.70. 1 invoice from Page Street Storage for ground storage unit at Birch Hill, $105. 2 invoices from Pro AV, they're providing the projection systems at Pennachuck, totaling $55,010.80. And finally, 1 invoice from Turner Group, Building Science, for commissioning agent for $10,481.37. Those total by schools, Franklin Street, $686,838.12. The middle school projects, $3,087,235.54. And for Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable, $2,021,548.36. And those all total $5,795,622.02.
I'll need a, good. Set?
All set.
So I'll need a motion to approve invoices for the Franklin Street at $686,838.12. The middle school project invoices for $3,087,235.54. Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable, $2,021,548.36 for a total of $5,795,622.02. Alderman Sullivan made the motion to accept. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, Sean?
I believe that's it.
Comments by committee members? Oh, yes.
Oh, thank you.
Alderwoman Timmons.
Thank
Alderman
you.
Timmons.
I like to thank the Nashua School District for that Nashua Goes Back to School in the city of Nashua. It was fantastic. I met all my friends there, the principals of every single school, all the children that I know there. It was incredible. I felt home. I felt, well, that is my home. So I knew everybody. Oh, hi, Gloria. And I was so happy to see everybody. National Teachers Union and United Way. Everybody was there. And it was really a good feeling to be back home.
Okay, thank
School
you.
board, my home.
Yeah.
But yeah, good job.
So
Great job.
this year, outside, which I think worked out pretty well. It was nice weather. And it was the largest crowd I can remember in the 17 years. And the Lions Club, self included, put together the 1,500 backpack packages, which took all one morning, 80 totes full of things. And this year they distributed all of them. So it was a great event. So, and it's the first time in the 17 years of doing this that the superintendent showed up to help us with the packing.
Okay.
Yes. Well, Ms. Raymond first.
Just wanted to say I spoke with, so it was a wonderful event. And I know that the Teachers Union gave out 1,500 books. The library gave out over 1,000 books to students. And the Lions Club said that they did over 60 vision screenings for free for kids and families who wanted them. So once again, it was just a tremendous effort. And it's so nice to see all of the kids there. We had 120 student athletes from the 2 high schools volunteering their time, helping out, handing things out. And when I left, the kids were still breaking down boxes and making sure that the library lawn was clean, which I was just so impressed by the respectfulness of our student athletes tonight.
Thing?
Sorry. I was heading there, and after 20 minutes of being actually stuck in traffic, trying to find a way in there, I decided that seeing I had no children and I was just going to go curiosity to see how it was going, it was better for me to leave a parking space for a parent with child and so on. But I'm so happy to hear. And every year, so much of the community comes together to do that. I actually want to give a special thank you and shout out to one of your students. He is on your board of ed as well, Dante. He came to my Park Fest, and when the rains came down, he volunteered and was helping people break down their canopies and so on. And he's an incredible young man, and he was there with Grow Nashua as part of that. But the fact that he came over and kept saying, "What can I do to help? What can I do to help?" was just an absolutely amazing and a joy to have him there. So you guys are doing good in the city. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Another comment.
Yes.
You know what? I like to say the teachers was very enthusiastic today. They want to have a good year. They talked about how great public schools are, and I agree. We have to keep our public schools. We have to keep our libraries as they are. And I was very happy how enthusiastic they were about seeing their students. They were great, all of them. And Mr. Miller, I like to shout out to him because he's really comical and he liked to dance and he do all his little shows and stuff like that. It was really great. But we got a great public schools, and I like to keep it just like it is, as great as it is, and the kids seem to be very happy. And I still have kids in public schools, and they seem to be happy with them. So.
Okay. What else? We don't need a non-public. Do I hear a motion?
Moved.
Sure.
Alderwoman Timmons, a motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 8:25 p.m.